Try these easy hacks to breathe new life into single-use plastic containers. Start by grabbing a few plastic muffin or cupcake clamshell containers. Fill with fresh or dried fruit, nuts, small candies, or salty snacks. These are perfect for backyard snacking, picnics, or road trips. Next, turn a small to medium lidded jar into a to-go cup. Drill a hole the size of a straw in the lid, fill with your favorite beverage, and you're ready to go. Next, after you've washed and dried the containers, drill drainage holes into the bottoms of each container. You'll leave one container as is. For the other, draw a scalloped or other design around the top edge. Cut off the lip and then cut out your design. Spray paint both containers, place the uncut container into the cut container, and then fill with a pretty plant.
I saved 18 tin cans from the recycling. I used a can opener to remove the top of the can, and then I cut the rest open with tin snips. I washed both sides with soap, water, and a scrub brush, and then I dried it. I placed a strip of double-sided foam tape along one side of the tin and then cut it so it was the same width as the tape. Then I cut it into smaller sections about 3/4 inch length. I peeled the back of the tape and placed the tin on a rubber inflated ball. After the middle row, I added rows alternating between the top and the bottom sides. When I got to the more curved part on the ball, I left a little triangle space between each tile, and then I cut my tiles in half on an angle, used those pieces to fill in the blanks. I glued it to a thrifted candlestick, and now I have the most gorgeous gazing ball, perfect for my garden.
Today I'd like to show you how to use items you would recycle or throw away, but instead use them in your garden. First up, we're going to use toilet paper rolls. Simply take your roll and fold in half. Then fold in half again, then snip in about 1/2 inch up. Fold each flap inwards to create a base for the planter. Now is a good time to mark the outside of the rolls with the name of what you are going to be planting. Wet down your potting soil thoroughly, as this will assist with germination. Next, plant your seeds to the depth that they need to be planted and place on a shelf in a sunny location. Make sure to keep them watered and don't let them dry out. Here they are starting to sprout. Now they're really starting to grow, so it is time to transplant them in my garden. You can either remove from the toilet paper roll or plant them in the roll, as the paper will disintegrate. Look at my pretty cosmos flowers starting to grow, and the sunflowers are also really taking off. They will look spectacular in the summer. Another option is to use a plastic container for holding cookies or salad as a mini greenhouse. Simply wet down your soil and fill up half the container and then plant your seeds. Close the lid and place in a sunny location. If you're going to be away and are worried about your plants not being watered, take the plastic bottle and drill a hole in the lid. Then snip off the end of the Q-tip and insert the Q-tip in the lid. Next, glue on 3 bamboo skewers evenly around the bottle. Fill the bottle with water and take it out to your planter. Then flip it over and insert it very close to your plant. My final project is perfect for any size planter. Heat the pin with the barbecue lighter and poke holes into the bottom of the bottle. Don't make too many holes or else it will drain too quickly. Then place the plastic container in the planter, plant with your favorite flowers, and put soil all around the container and the plant. Then fill with water and instant underground irrigation. Could it be any simpler?
Hang on to those recyclable materials. Let's start with a plastic bottle. Grab a plastic bottle and a craft knife and slowly cut off the bottom part, the part with those fun ridges on it. I'm going to use 2 bottles for this project, so I've got the bottom of 2. Then, using a scissors, I am going to follow the natural ridges of the bottom of the bottle and just round the edges. I'm essentially making this look like a flower by cutting petals. Now I'm going to use 2 bottoms for this flower. And with one of them, I'm going to grab a small tea light and just hold that plastic near the flame. What it's going to do is slightly melt the petals, making them look like natural petals. It's going to shrink this particular bottom a little bit so that it fits inside the other one when we're done. The next step is to paint these. I'm going to turn them upside down and just paint the back. I'm going to use a dark pink on one and a light pink on the other. I'm also going to add some yellow dots to the center to make it look a little bit more like a flower. Once the paint is dry, I'm going to punch a hole in the larger bottle bottom because we're going to hang this up. Then I'm just going to use some hot glue to attach the 2 pieces together. Tie some string through that hole, and this makes a beautiful sun catcher in my window. Old book here that is kind of in rough shape. I'm going to tear out a few pages that have mostly just words on them. Now, using a scissors, you don't have to be too precise here. I'm going to cut out circles from each page. Now, they don't have to be perfect, they just generally have to be round. Now I'm going to cut a spiral shape into the circle. So just starting at the edge, I'm going to cut all the way around to the middle, leaving a small circle in the middle. Now to roll the flower. Start on the edge and just start rolling. That end can be a little tricky. You got to get it nice and tight, but then just roll it all the way to the middle. At the very end here, I've got this little circle left. I'm going to put a bit of glue on there and place the rolled part on top of the glue. This is going to secure it in place and hold it well. These are great for decorating a wreath, a picture frame, a sign. You could do so much with these, and they're really easy to make. I have these gorgeous magazines with beautiful nature pictures in them. We've looked through them all, we've read them all, so now I want to use them one more time. I'm going to tear out a number of pages that have a lot of color on them. Then I'm going to cut each page in half. I want these strips of magazine to be about the same size. It's about 4 inches here. I'm going to fold each strip in half the long way, and then using a scissor, I am cutting fringe in here. So I'm not cutting all the way through. I'm starting at the folded edge and cutting almost to the open edge. To assemble these flowers, I'm going to start with a little bit of glue on the very end, and then I'm just going to roll. The glue just helps hold it in together at the beginning. Roll all the way to the end and then glue the end piece in place. Now you could have a flower just like this, or you could add a couple more rolls to the outside to make a really large bloom. I am using these on the bottom of a chalkboard just to dress it up a little bit. There are 3 different methods for making flowers out of recyclable items. I hope this inspired you to save some of those items and make some flowers for your home.
For this project, I grabbed 3 pieces of plastic from my recycle bin. I chose pieces that had a nice flat part to them. I want to trim off all the edges on each piece. I went ahead and printed off 3 little summery creatures that I liked the shape of. And now I want to tape them to the back of the plastic pieces. With my black paint, I want to outline each picture now. I'm not going to worry about the details, just the general outline. I love this stained glass paint for outlining. If it blobs at all, it's easy to correct and wipe off any excess. To make these sweeties transparent, I want to mix some Mod Podge with a little bit of paint. I've chosen 4 colors I want to use, and I'll mix each one until they're fully incorporated into the Mod Podge. I'm going to start with the dragonfly and use a small artist's brush to paint 2 of the wings with the green paint and Mod Podge mixture. For the butterfly, I'm going to paint the entire outline in with the pink mixture. I don't want it to be too thick, but I do want to make sure that the entire surface inside of the black line is covered. To make the wings extra special, I want to place a little dried and pressed purple flower into the mixture. For the little snail, I want to use the yellow mixture. I'm going to start by getting the surface completely covered, and now I want to use my paintbrush to make the swirl pattern on its shell. I want to fill the main part of its shell with dried and pressed flowers. I'm going to use a variety of shapes and colors to fill it in. Now I can remove the papers I attached to the backs and trim off all the excess plastic. I'm going to need some really small scissors to get into all of the little details. The last thing I want to do for my little plant stakes is to add some skewers to the back of them. I can use some hot glue to hold the skewer in place, and then they're ready to go. I love how cute these are and that I was able to make them from things in my recycle bin. All I need is a trash bag and some paper from the recycle bin for this amazing fall project. I'm going to fill my bag with some leftover foam that I have from another project, but I could also fill it with packing paper or peanuts or even bubble wrap and get the same effect. I want to pack the foam in until the bag is completely full, and I want to try and keep it in somewhat of a round shape. I want to gather the top and start wrapping some painter's tape around that. With the same painter's tape, I want to give the bulk of the bag a little shape. I'm going to attach the tape to either the top or the bottom of the bag and then pull it tightly around the sides. I'm going to do this 6 or 7 times until I go all the way around the bag. To create the paste I want to use for the paper mache, I'm going to mix together just regular white flour and some water. I'm going to keep mixing it until I get a thick paste, making sure all of the flour is mixed in. I've grabbed some newsprint from the recycle bin, and before I start working on the pumpkin, I want to rip the newsprint into strips. This is going to make things move much more quickly once I get my hands covered in paste. With everything ready, it's time to start covering the trash bag with the paste and paper. I'm going to start by laying a piece of the newsprint in the paste, and then I'm just going to use my fingers to wipe off any excess. Once the paper is pasted up, I can lay it right onto the trash bag and it's going to dry in place. I'm going to keep doing this until the entire trash bag is covered in 2 layers of this paper and paste mixture. Now that everything is completely covered and all the paste and the paper is dry, it's time to paint it. I'm going to cover the entire pumpkin with this orange color that I created as a custom mix. I also want to paint the stem brown. The stem's actually going to be covered up, but I do want it brown in case any of the paper shows through later. To finish off the paint, I want to mix a little bit of this mustard color in for the second layer. The mixing of the yellow and the orange is going to help to give the pumpkin a more authentic look. With the pumpkin dry and painted, I want to use some brown glaze just to add a few lines around the pumpkin. In order to create the vines for this pumpkin, I've grabbed some thick jute twine and I'm going to dip it into this mixture of white glue and water. I want to squeeze out any of the excess and then I'm going to wrap it around the stick marker. As these coils dry, the glue mixture is going to harden and I'll be able to manipulate the curly vines. Finally, I want to attach the vines and cover the pumpkin stem. I'm just going to use some hot glue to keep the vines in place at the base of the stem. With the vines where I want them, it's now time to cover the entire stem with some thick jute twine. I'm going to make sure to put some hot glue around it as I'm wrapping it up just to keep the twine in place. This oversized pumpkin is so cute and it's the perfect piece for fall. I hope this has inspired you to grab a trash bag and make your own giant pumpkin as well.
You'll want to start saving those party-sized takeout containers when you see how easily they can help enhance your garden. I'm gathering 2 larger and 2 smaller party trays, then removing the lids. The trays are being dry fit on the ground of a small container vegetable garden where I think they will be perfect. I'm pouring a little olive oil into each pan, then spreading it around using some paper until the bottoms and a little along the sides are well coated. Reaching for some bagged concrete that dries overnight, I'm shoveling some into a 5-gallon bucket, then mixing it with water until I reach a thick pudding consistency. You'll want to be sure to wear eye, mouth, and hand protection for this step. You'll also want to be diligent to rinse the concrete off the tools in between using them so the concrete doesn't harden on them. I'm now adding some mixed concrete into the smaller trays, filling them up until they are full, then leveling the concrete with a small trowel. Next up, I'm mixing a larger batch of concrete to add to the larger trays, filling them up at least 2 to 3 inches thick, then troweling them smooth as well. In hindsight, I think a slightly wetter mix leaves you with a smoother finish when they are done. I am leaving the trays outdoors overnight to cure. The next day, the concrete looks really dry, so I'm testing a form by pulling away the sides to check. It looks good. I'm now removing all the trays by gently pulling on the sides of each tray, then flipping each concrete slab on top of my hand while gently setting them down onto some cardboard to protect them. I'm now brushing off any loose concrete that may be remaining while admiring all those impressive edge details. I also noticed that none of the trays cracked during removal, which means they are reusable if you wish to make more to match. Now each concrete stone is being positioned in the vegetable garden, then shuffled around until I decide exactly where I want each one to go. Once positioned, I'm placing a carpenter's level on top of each stone, then leveling them by scooping some soil underneath. And I am now the proud owner of a custom stepping stone garden path I can use to navigate right through my vegetable garden without stepping on any soil. More times than not, I'm generally barefoot when I check in on the garden, so this will come in handy keeping my feet much cleaner. However, it also keeps shoes cleaner too, especially when it happens to be raining. The stones are positioned perfectly and comfortably so I don't have to make an effort to reach each one. I think the shapes make the garden look even more quaint and unique, so much more than simple round or square that you buy at stores.